Well, you're here, so I guess today is a good day. Give yourselves a hand to all the graduates. President of this fine college, and to all of you who are here, I promise not to do something. Now, I was first of all very honored to be asked to come and spend just a few minutes with you in this commencement and to have a few words. I promise this, several things. Number one, I won't talk long. I've graduated several times, and I don't remember what the commencement speaker talked about. I just wanted to get the piece of paper, I wanted to get the pictures in the hallway, and I was ready to go. They went a long time at my graduation, so I promise not to do that. I am a Baptist pastor, and I promise when I get done, I will not pass the plate, and I will not ask you to join my church, all right? So the only thing I kind of need from the students of Bryant Stratton, the students who in a few minutes will be the graduates, I come from a tradition of people talking back to me. Now, if you don't know that tradition, that means when I say something that you say, yeah, the guy, he's right, he's on point. You can do several things. You can clap, you can make noise, you can throw things at me, just don't go to sleep. And if you do that, we'll be done in about 7 minutes, all right? How you feel about that? Oh, okay, yeah. So let me tell you, I am honored to be here. Up under my name in the program, it says the Common Council member, the Ellicott District member of, City of Buffalo. And so wherever I go, a lot of times that comes with sometime, a little bit of privilege. People in restaurants will usually look for a decent table. People who want to holler at me in traffic, they kind of look over, they give me a break. They figure I work hard. And people all around who usually recognize the title, there's some respect that goes with the title. But I want to suggest to you today, in all of the things that God has allowed me to accomplish in these 47 years of living, none of it has ever come easy. Not one thing. Not one thing that is ever mentioned, not one thing that is ever talked about has ever come easy. I bring up the part about the Common Council because I think that it's very important that you understand that there's a title there, but there's a story there. A few years ago, I felt called to run for office. Now, I was a full-time pastor in a city that in the city's history had never, ever elected a full-time pastor to any elective office. So I was at this position in life where I felt that I was at the right time to do good for people. So imagine now being a pastor in a town that had never elected a pastor to office. Man, when I tell you, if I wasn't a pastor, I would have gone through more hell than what I went through. It was a tough time. People investigated everything I did. They found a ticket that I got in 1980, a parking ticket. And they wrote a whole article about how this candidate got a parking ticket that wasn't paid on time. People followed me around, was outside of my house, took pictures of people entering and exiting my house, the cars I drove. They did as much research as they could. People said to me, you must be out of your mind to want to do what you do. I want to suggest to you today, those of you who are getting ready to walk across this stage, that you should never allow anyone to define who you are or what you are to do in your life. I knew that this was a calling. I knew it. It was on the inside of me. I knew that for some reason I lived where I lived, that I'd been prepared for what I was doing. And I knew this one thing, that one of the greatest failures you can experience is the failure to be you. People who allow others to define who they are, people who allow others to say where you should work, what you should do, you find yourself living other people's lives instead of your own. This is your life. And so I went for it. I decided that if this was what my calling was in life, that I couldn't be afraid to walk into whatever calling it was, that I could handle it. And so we started the process. I gathered together people around me who cared and who believed in my dreams. Side note, not in my notes. Be careful about the people you gather around you, because everybody will not understand your dreams. Everybody will not understand your definition. And never be afraid of the word goodbye. There are some people that you just need to say goodbye to, who do not understand what your definition of life is. And so I got all those people together, and we just knew it's going to work out. It's going to be smooth. And we went, and 8 people on the Common Council had to decide who was going to fill the unexpired term that was there. We thought we've got the credentials, we've got the education, we've got the people behind us, and it didn't happen. Few people decided they wanted someone else. Now, a lot of people would have stopped there because they would have said, hey, must not have been his calling. Must not have been for him to happen. Must not have been. He should go in a different direction. Maybe he should return to just doing the pulpit. Forget about that dream and that calling. But I want to suggest to you today, ladies and gentlemen, finding your calling doesn't mean it's going to be convenient, and it doesn't mean it's going to be comfortable. If you're really going to operate in your calling, that what you have been called to do, that which you have studied to do, it doesn't mean settling for what's easy. You're going to find that there's going to be some jobs that you're going to apply for that they're never going to call you back. You're going to find that there's going to be some positions you're going to apply for, and you know you're the best qualified, and you're going to watch other people walk into it simply because they're in people's family. You're going to find that there's going to be some places that you want to walk with that piece of paper that is not, the doors are not going to be open for you. But I came to give you encouragement and tell you, don't be afraid of a no. Because there are times that a no is the best thing in the world for you. Because when a few people said no, I didn't get discouraged. A no should motivate you that if this is what I have been called to do, I will not stop at a no, and any detour is not a stop. As long as you're alive, you can never, ever beat a person who stops fighting. You got to keep fighting at every no. You've got to figure out another way to go about it. But if you have a dream, you've got to learn, I'm going to live this dream, and every no is just a push toward a yes. And so we came back. We got a committee together. We went out to the streets. We met with people. And before you knew it, it was election time. It was only a few months in between that time. I'd already started getting my office together in my head. I'd already started hiring staff in my head. I'd already started writing laws in my head because I refused to lose. And if it had not been that year, I was coming back another year. And when I came back that next year, I was coming back better, and I was coming back sharper. And I remember sitting watching the news, and we had all these people around us waiting for the election results to come in. And people were saying, don't worry. But I kept on worrying. I was watching as it was going across the screen. And the race was kind of close in the beginning. And then all of a sudden, things started turning around. The numbers started coming across the screen. People who knew politics were coming to me saying, you might as well declare victory. And I said, I'm not declaring victory until that last vote is counted. I said, I don't want to look like a fool saying I'm victorious and crying in the morning. And then the numbers were so high, almost 80% coming in. And I was 80% on the lead. I looked over, I grabbed my grandson, I put him in my arms, and I looked at him and I said, we did it. He couldn't even talk at the time, but I told him we did it. And all of a sudden, we began to declare victory, and people began to gather around us, and people said, good job. But my brothers and sisters who are here today, people see the glory, but they really don't always understand your story. There's going to be people here today who are going to tell you in a few minutes, good job. But they really don't know everything that you went through to get to where you're at right now. They don't know about the temporary setbacks that you really went through that you didn't tell anybody else about. Yeah, I won and you won today. You got the victory today. But I want to tell you, victory is short-lived, because after that, the real work began. After all of the balloons and the flowers and the telegrams and all of the congratulatory letters, then the real work began. What was the real work? Then it was really time to utilize the knowledge, it was time to utilize the education, and it was time to utilize all of those connections that I had made. Today, you do really have the victory. Today, you really have won. But I want to remind you about what you've learned that many people don't know. and you tell me when I'm in your house. Many people don't know that it looked easy, but it wasn't always easy getting the grades that you got. Holler at me if I'm talking to you. Many people don't know that you really wanted to give up, but it was then that you found out what you were really made of. Holler at me if you hear me. Many people don't know that sometimes you had to do it by yourself. Didn't have babysitters all the time, didn't have help all the time, didn't have people there, but you found out inside of you that there was a giant and you made it despite what you had to go through. Let me help you with what you learned. You learned how to stay up late at night, drink a lot of double-doubles, study when you didn't want to study, and get what you needed to get. Finally, there were moments that even you questioned. Did I do the right thing? Did I pick the right school? Was this the right season? Did I choose the right degree? Was this the right time? But look back at your lives. All of the questions have been answered. And in a few minutes, the results of all of those struggles, the results of all of that fight is going to end the same way. The numbers are coming in. And you're winning against all of the odds, against all of the naysayers. You're winning. You made it. So I leave you with this. I like to leave with at least one great philosopher, one great person who has touched our generation. So today I leave with a great philosopher by the name of Nicki Minaj. Nicki said, try not to hum it, I fly with the stars in the skies. I am no longer trying to survive. I believe that life is a prize, but to live doesn't mean you're alive. Don't worry about me and who I fire. I get what I desire. It's my empire. And yes, I call the shots. I am the umpire. I sprinkle holy water upon the vampire. In this very moment, I'm king or queen. In this very moment, I slide Goliath with the sling. In this very moment, I put it on everything that I will retire with the ring. I will retire with the crown. Yes, no, I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. Yes, clap for the heavyweight champion, me. But I couldn't do it alone. I'll finish with this. Shout out to my haters, she said. Sorry you couldn't faze us. And then she says, I wish that I could have this moment. Y'all know that part. I wish I could have this moment for life, because in this moment, I feel so alive. God bless you and congratulations.